Welcome to How to Write Your Book in a Weekend, even if you have no idea where to start. My name is Candace Duff, and I'm going to be your hostess for tonight. All right. So, how to increase your viewing pleasure. Turn off everything that's operating in the background. Silence your phone, close your door if you need to. Give yourself this time to learn some secrets about book writing, because that's why we're here, right? Now, you're in the right place if you want to write the right book for the right reader, and you want to write it quickly, efficiently, and fantastically. That's what I teach. That's what I specialize on. So you're probably wondering, who am I? Who is Candace Duff? Well, I'm a published novelist. I write under 2 different pen names. My books are on Amazon, and they're read by people all over the world. They get 4.5-star ratings. I'm also a book coach. I coach clients and students in how to write their books quickly, efficiently, and fantastically. I'm also a practicing attorney licensed to practice in the state of Florida, a construction law expert by the Florida Bar. I'm also an entrepreneur and a big sister and a devoted auntie. On the left there is my official headshot is LJ Taylor. That's one of my pen names. In the middle is my baby sister, Indy. She'll be 76 and I'll be 90, and I'll still be calling her my baby sister. On the right is Indy with my nieces and my nephew, the loves of my life. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. I was a lawyer in a large law firm for the first 22 years of my practice, and I worked 1 million hours a day and killed myself trying to make partner there, and I made partner there in 2001. And for the first 15 years of my practice, I kicked my dream of being a published novelist to the curb for the whole first 15 years. As I told myself, I didn't have time to indulge in writing books. I didn't have time because I was trying to become partner, or was trying to build a practice, or whatever the case may be. I just told myself I didn't have time. And the closest I ever got to writing a book was going to the Maui Writers Conference every year on vacation, which was a fabulous vacation and also great for intellectual stimulation, but it didn't get me that much closer to writing my book. Then something happened. In 2007, the market crashed, and it was sort of like this pandemic, if you think about it. The world just stopped, right? The economy went downhill. I was representing condominium developers, big-time, multi-million-dollar condominium developers, in condo turnover litigation, construction defect litigation, and suddenly they couldn't pay their bills. And suddenly, what was a very secure job with me at the pinnacle of my career, being on top of the world, suddenly, it was a precarious position. And I had to reinvent myself. And I told myself, if I have to reinvent my practice, I'm going to reinvent my life. And I'm going to stop kicking my dream to the curb of becoming a published novelist. So I decided I was going to go ahead and start writing my books. But I had no idea where to start. So I just decided I was going to start writing books, but I really had no idea where to start. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any coaches. I didn't have any idea. And I tried writing the book on my own, but that didn't work because I had no guidance whatsoever. And I tried taking writing seminars, but these writing seminars are more geared toward how to put more romance into the novel, what goes into a romance book, what are the requirements of the genre, but not how to write a book from beginning to end. Right? I joined writers groups, and that actually worked a little bit better because at least there were some experienced published novelists there who could give me some tips and some tricks, but it didn't get me all the way. It wasn't until 2007 when I discovered National Novel Writing Month, also known as NaNoWriMo, and some of you might have actually done this, where basically maniacs from all over the globe, of which I count myself one of them, sign up on a website, nanowrimo.org, and we vow to write a 50,000-word book, a 50,000-word novel between November 1st and November 30th. 50,000 words is a full-length book. It's like 175 pages or so. And we vow to write that in 30 days during the month of November. And I did that for the first time in 2007. And guess what? It worked. I whipped out the first draft of what became my first published book, Just Dreams, by LJ Taylor in 2007 during NaNoWriMo. And when I discovered I could write a book in 30 days, I became obsessed with how I could write them even faster, with how I could make the process even smoother, with how I could make my drafts even tighter. And I did a ton of research on these issues, and I took more writing seminars, but these writing seminars were more geared toward how to get your book done faster, how to write tighter first drafts, how to write manuscripts more quickly, and things of that nature. And I wrote 7 books in 7 years. I did NaNoWriMo every year between 2007 and 2014. And I wrote a new book each year. So I wrote 7 books in 7 years in 30 days. And I learned a ton during that time period. I've published 4 of those books so far, by the way, of those 7 books I wrote. I discovered a system for writing books fast during the 7-year time period. And that's the system that I teach today. So now you're probably wondering, how does this apply to you? Why am I telling you this story? Well, let me tell you. I discovered during those 7 years of writing books that it wasn't my fault that I didn't know where to start. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have a coach. I didn't know what the process was. I didn't have any direction whatsoever in how to write a book. So I went around just like so many authors, you know, bumbling around on my own, taking a whole bunch of time, years and years to write my book because I didn't know how to go about doing it. And I used to think it took a long time to write a book. But after I wrote 7 books in 7 years over 30-day periods, I learned it doesn't have to take a long time to write a book. And I used to think that if I wrote a book fast, it wouldn't be good. But I proved to myself by publishing those books and getting 4.5-star ratings on Amazon and lots of reviews that, yeah, you can write a book fast and it could still be good. And then I discovered something very interesting. I discovered that there are great novels, what we consider to be great American literature, that were written in well under 30 days. For example, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne was written in 2.5 days, basically a weekend. A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, which I had to read in high school, was written in only 3 weeks. I, the Jury by Mickey Spillane was written in 9 days. Dostoevsky wrote The Gambler in 26 days, and he wrote that book fast because he was trying to get his brother out of gambling debts, and he had to write that book fast in order to be able to sell it to make that money. On the Road by Jack Kerouac was written in only 3 weeks, and one of my favorite authors, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle of the Sherlock Holmes mysteries, wrote A Study in Scarlet in 3 weeks. So bottom line is, you can definitely write a great book in well under a month. You can write a great book in a weekend, and I'm going to tell you how. And what I learned during this 7-year period became the basis of the framework that I teach today to my clients. And I call it the Silk System. It's everything you need to take you from book idea to finished book. Now, the S and the I of the Silk System starts with preparation. It starts with how to set your book project up for success from the very start, by properly preparing for it, by honing in on your book idea, honing in on your target market, honing in on your target reader, who are you writing that book for, on the norms and requirements of your genre, on your book format, on your book outline. The time to think about these things is not after you started writing the book or after you finish writing the book. It's before you ever put pen to the page. Because if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. And that's a quote from the great Yogi Berra. Now, the L part of that system has to do with the actual writing of the book, and it deals with fast writing tips, tricks, and techniques that I teach that allow you to achieve book writing speeds of up to 5,000 words per hour and produce a clean manuscript. And no, that's not a typo, 5,000 words per hour. We're going to talk more about that soon. Also, storytelling techniques that help keep your readers entertained and engaged, whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction. Because believe it or not, when you think about it, when you read nonfiction, we really learn through stories, right? Human beings learn through the telling of stories and being able to relate to them. So the best nonfiction has tons of great stories in them that help illustrate the points that people writing nonfiction want to make. So you need to learn storytelling techniques if you're writing memoir. You need to learn storytelling techniques if you're writing inspirational books or how-to books or business books, because you better be able to tell a good story to get your points across. And of course, you need great storytelling techniques in fiction as well. You also need guerrilla writing and accountability techniques. I call it guerrilla writing techniques, because these techniques help keep you in your chair or help keep you, pacing up and down, dictating into your phone, or will keep you accountable to your book project to the end. Writing a book is hard work. And if you don't have accountability techniques and these guerrilla writing techniques to help give you staying power, you won't finish, right? The L part also deals with book revision. And when you think about it, revision is where you actually do the real writing in a book. It's where you go through scene by scene and chapter by chapter, and you figure out, do I need this scene? Am I doing this scene from the right point of view? Should I do it from a different character's point of view? Is the scene a duplicate? Is it necessary? Should I delete it? Should I keep it? Is something missing? Do I need to put more stories into the chapter to illustrate my point? Am I really saying what it is I really wanted to say, what was in my head? Right? Revision is where you actually bring your book to life, where you actually polish it and get it ready for professional editing. So that also falls under the L part of the Silk system. And then the last part, which is the key, and this is where in this section, I teach book finishing techniques, how to deal with cover designers, how to deal with book formatters, how to deal with illustrators, especially if you're doing a children's book or something, how to self-publish your book on different platforms, and how to launch your book so that people can actually find it and read it. So the key system is the last part of the system where you actually send your book out into the world. Now, this system has allowed me to research my genre and my target readers, and that gave my books a leg up on marketing, because if you know the requirements of your genre and your target readers, you're writing a book that your target readers actually want to read, that gives you a leg up on marketing when you actually publish the book, and it keeps you from launching to the sound of crickets. It also helped me to prepare for my writing projects so I could write my books fast. Because if I've outlined my book and I know who I'm writing it for, and I know what I'm putting in each and every scene and chapter, then writing my book is going to be that much faster, because I'll know where I'm going every step of the way. And that allowed me to increase my writing speed so I could produce up to 5,000 words an hour. And we're going to talk more about this very soon. And it allowed me to go from book idea to book launch in weeks, not months, weeks. And it didn't just work for me, it worked for my clients too, the clients that actually paid me to coach them. And my clients come from all different backgrounds. They run the gamut. Some of them are attorneys like me. Some of them are speakers who wanted more speaking gigs. Some of them are entrepreneurs who wanted to do book funnels. Some of them are doctors who want to move into naturopathic medicine. Some of them are coaches and consultants and business owners who wanted more customers and more eyeballs on their products and services. And some of them are just authors, you know, traditionally published authors who want to learn how to write fast and well. So you're here because you want to learn how to write your book in a weekend, even if you have no idea where to start. Let's get started. Secret number one, how to set your book up for success before you write the first word. The time to think about book marketing is before you ever put pen to the page. The biggest mistake that newbie writers make, that actually even experienced writers make, is that they write the book first and then wonder how to sell it and who to sell it to. The time to think about book marketing is before you ever put pen to the page. And the key to that is preparation. And I actually teach these techniques in my bestseller book challenge. And I'm going to take you step by step through what you learn in this challenge, which is also step by step through what you need to do in order to set your book up for success from the very start. The first thing we deal with is mindset, because when you think about it, all writers deal with mindset issues. Everything from imposter syndrome, who am I to write a book? I'm not an expert. I'm not a great writer. If you allow these things, they'll stop you in your tracks before you ever start, and they'll keep you from finishing writing your book. Perfectionism, attacks of the inner editor, all of these things, all of these mindset issues will, if you let them, hold you back. So we deal with them, and I give them tools for dealing with them throughout their book project. And then I take them on an exercise where they go 7 levels deep on their why. Because like I said, writing a book is not easy. Even if you do it fast, it's still a great mental effort and emotional effort. And if you are not anchored in that real reason why you want to write this book, and I'm not just talking about, oh, I want to make money. That's not a good enough reason in and of itself to keep you all the way through your book project. You need to know why you want to make money, why you want to make an impact. You know, you need to get to your deeper why. And that why is going to be the one thing that fuels you all the way through your book project. So I take them on this exercise where they go 7 levels deep and they figure out their why. And then book clarity. And let me tell you something. A lot of us are walking around, a lot of my clients are walking around with the ideas for 5 books in their heads. And some of them, try to write all those 5 books at one time. They try to cram everything they know into one book, or they get totally derailed by trying to figure out which book to write first. And it's really important that you figure out which book you want to write first. What are your goals? And then, what book do you want to write? And which book are you going to write first? And then having clarity and refining your book idea up front is going to help you get through that book faster. People keep forgetting that they can write another book, right? You don't have to write 5 books at one time. You don't have to cram everything you know into the first book. You need to make that book that you write tight, and it needs to be the book that is going to actually do it for you, the book that's actually going to help you achieve your goal. So I help my clients get clarity on which book they're going to write first. And then I help them figure out who's going to really benefit from that book, who really needs that book, who's asking for that book now, who is your ideal reader. If you are somebody who does speeches for a living, a public speaker, then you're actually targeting your target audience. And you're also targeting event coordinators, right? They're going to be the ones who are going to be impressed by what you wrote or what have you. So you need to know who your ideal reader is so you can target your book to your ideal reader. And you need to get into the heads of your ideal readers so that you know what they want, what they're looking for, and what they're going to read. And when you really refine and hone in on who your ideal reader is, and you're able to even finish their sentences, and you're able to see what their pain points are and all those things, and I teach you how to do that, then you're going to write a book that they're going to be waiting for, and they're going to snatch up, and you won't launch to the sound of crickets. Become a genre genius. What does this mean? If I'm writing romantic suspense, for example, I need to know that my book needs to be 50% romance and 50% suspense or action, right? I need to know that it should come 60% from the point of view of the heroine and 40% from the point of view of the hero. And if I don't know that, then I'm not going to write a book that people who read romantic suspense will like, okay? Because I'm not writing what they're expecting. And if I don't know what kinds of covers, for example, go on romantic suspense books, then they're not going to be able to recognize it when I put it up on Amazon. So becoming a genre genius helps you to figure out the norms and requirements of your genre, whatever your genre is, and helps you to niche down into that, so that if you niche, the more you niche down, believe it or not, the better the market will be for your book. So am I writing, military romantic suspense? Am I writing, espionage romantic suspense? Am I writing, not just romantic suspense, right? What do I want to specialize in? Okay. And that'll help me. And what are the requirements? What do those books look like? And that'll help me niche down and have more of a market for my book. And then I teach them something I call book hacking. And book hacking is actually book research. And it's where you look at the top 10 books on Amazon for the type of book that you want to write. And you take a look at the look inside feature and you figure out, how did they format that book? What ideas can I get for formatting my book? What do their table of contents look like? What types of content do they have? How might I want to arrange my content? For example, if I'm writing memoir, am I doing it by date? Am I doing it by specific events in my life? Am I doing it, you get all these different ideas for how you want to do it so that you can figure out how you want to write your book. And then I have them look at the reviews and see what people are saying about the book. Because, if they say the book was great because it had a lot of this, but I wish it had more of that, then if you write a book that has more of that, that might be fulfilling a hole that's in the market, and there'll be people waiting for your book. So doing this book research is really important, and knowing the techniques for doing it is really important so that you can actually put out a book that the market really wants, and you can see the elements of successful books of the type that you want to write. And then I help you discover your bestseller book topic, because after you figured out who your ideal reader is, after you figured out what holes there are in the market, after you've done your book research, you'll have ideas for what's a great topic for your book or what spin you want to put on the topic that's already out there. So I give you the tools and exercises to discover your bestseller book topic. And then we put all this information that we've acquired during the course of our research, and we either create a mind map or we create what I do, which is a brain dump, where I dump all of my ideas regarding a specific book into a Google Doc. So if I'm writing fiction, I'm putting all the characters' names in there. I'm putting all the characteristics of the characters I can think of. I'm putting the beginning, middle, and end of, how I want the story to flow. I'm putting in plot developments that I could think of, scenes that I could think of that I'll describe in there. Anything that I can put in there in terms of how I'm structuring and formatting the book, in terms of my cover design ideas. If I'm writing a how-to book, I'm putting in the steps of the process of how to do whatever it is I want to teach. like that. All of your ideas go into a single mind map or into a single document, like a Google Doc or a Word doc. And so you could have all of your ideas in one place. And once you do that, you might realize, well, you know what? I have a series here. I don't just have one romantic suspense book. I actually have enough stuff here for a 3-book series or a 10-book series. And then I'll decide which book I'm writing first, and that'll be what I start to outline the next day. And the next day, I do organize your book, which is actually outlining your book. And this is taking all that information you have and grouping it in logical groups and figuring out where the holes are and filling out an outline. So you create an outline, you know where you're going every step of the way as you write this book. So this is where I actually have you outline the book and teach you how to outline your book. And then I teach you those storytelling techniques that we mentioned earlier, because there are certain stories that resonate with people the most, certain types of stories. And we talk about the elements of those storytelling techniques and the elements of those stories and how to tell a good story, and teach you different techniques that you can work with during the course of your book. And then you go back into your outline and you plug in which stories you want to tell where, right? So if you're teaching them how to create widgets or how to write a book, I can tell them stories in certain parts and certain portions of the book to help me illustrate the points that I want to make. And then we do something I call method madness. And I actually have a PDF report which is called 13 Ways to Write a Book. And when you think about it, there are a lot of different ways to write a book. You can write a book by just doing it the old-fashioned way, sitting down and banging it out on the keyboard, or you could dictate your book, which is a lot faster, and we'll talk more about that later. Or you could co-author the book with a single co-author, just you two. Or you could do an anthology where you have other authors, give chapters of the book. You can compile it out of interviews that you do with experts, or out of existing materials like articles or blog posts or podcasts, transcripts. So there are a lot of different ways to write a book. And on day 11, we actually choose which way to write that book. And then I teach you how to choose best-selling titles and subtitles. And there's an art and a science to creating best-selling titles and subtitles. But if you're writing nonfiction, for example, one of the most important things is that people be able to recognize your book and recognize it as something that they want to actually read. The subtitle, for example, should really tell them exactly what's in it. And so that if they're looking for that and it has good keywords in it, they can actually find your book on Amazon and know that it's the type of book they want to read. And then I teach you how to create best-selling and dynamic chapter titles. Because the bottom line is, if somebody does a look inside feature at your book, you want your chapter titles to be so sexy that they know this is the type of book they want to read, that intrigues them to go actually buy the book. So I teach you how to create best-selling chapter titles. And then we talk about different launch techniques that you can use to launch your book. There's a lot of different tools that you can use to launch your book, and you can learn from them and decide which ones you want to use to launch your particular book to make sure it hits the top of the charts in the beginning. That's really important, especially in the first 30 days. All right, so that brings me to secret number 2. How to figure out which book to write. Now, we cover this sort of in the Bestseller Book Challenge, but here I'm going to give you some things to think about so you can decide which book of all those books that are up in your head you want to write first. And one of the first things that you want to think about is, who are you trying to attract, right? Who is your ideal reader? Who would really benefit from any one of those ideas that you're thinking about? And which one of those resonates with them and with you first? Which one of those do they need now? What problems do you solve? I solve 2 problems, right? One of my problems that I solve is that I write fiction. So I help transport people and take them away and take their minds off of things, right? Because I write fiction and I just help take them away on this whole quick pace, romantic suspense journey and make them feel happy. Make their hearts race a little bit with the action in the book and things of that nature. But I also teach people how to write books. So if I'm writing nonfiction, I solve the problem of actually how to make more money, how to grow your business, how to get more speaking gigs, how to do a lot of things. And the vehicle I use is writing books, okay? So think about, what problems do you solve? And then think about, what problems do those people have now? What we did for them before COVID-19 and the whole pandemic might be slightly different from what they might need right now. They might need a book on how to pivot during the pandemic. They might need fiction more than ever to be transported away, so as not to think about all the problems that are going on in the world right now. So what problems did they have before? What problems do they have now? What problems do you solve? And can you solve for them today? And what is your solution? For me, teaching people how to write books is one of my solutions. Writing fiction is one of my solutions, right? And that brings me to book number 3, or secret number 3, how to write your book fast in a weekend. All right. The secret to writing a book fast in just a weekend is actually book dictation, speaking your book. Now, everybody thinks they know how to dictate their book, but actually everybody doesn't. And if you don't do it right, it's not going to go as quickly and as cohesively as you would like. And some people really shy away from dictation, but I'm here to tell you that you really shouldn't. It's not that magic flows out of our fingers when we hit the keys or through our pencil. It's that we're more comfortable with doing things that way. But just because we're comfortable with doing things that way doesn't mean we can't get comfortable with doing things, with dictating our books. And there are a lot of benefits of dictation. It's the fastest way to create drafts. We speak a heck of a lot faster than we actually type. And we can speak, I'm speaking now, at speeds of up to 4,000 to 5,000 words per hour. And if I could actually dictate a chapter, a 20-page chapter, which is about 5,000 words, into my phone in an hour, then I've written 20 pages in a day in an hour. You get me? And that's a great thing. It's the fastest way to create drafts. But it also creates a conversational tone. Think about it. If you're writing nonfiction, if you're reading nonfiction, the best nonfiction books that we know, actually, we like the ones where the author is actually speaking to us, right? Not speaking over our heads, not using really big words, not trying to be convoluted, but books that are written in conversational tones where we actually feel like the author is speaking to us, telling us stories, giving us wisdom, you know? So dictating your book helps you have a conversational tone because you are actually speaking your book. And it also helps you create better dialogue if you're writing fiction. Think about it. If you're dictating the fiction, then you're going to know if the dialogue doesn't sound right. You're going to know if that character wouldn't say it the way you just said it, or if it sounds stilted, or if it sounds awkward. You're going to hear it when you actually dictate that dialogue. So dictating your dialogue actually helps you make more realistic dialogue, which is really important, and helps you make more convincing dialogue as well. And you get less chance of, hunching over your desk, having back problems and neck problems and all kinds of things. Sitting is the new cancer, right? So if you're dictating your book, you can actually avoid that, because you can dictate while you're pacing up and down your living room or your dining room, or while you're sitting out on your balcony, or while you're walking down in the woods if you want. So there's less chance of physical writing ailments because you're not chained to your computer, hunched over your desk typing. Now, some people think that book dictation is, newfangled, but actually it's old school. Authors like John Milton and Henry James used to dictate. They didn't have iPhones back in the day or voice recorders, but they did have assistants who took down every word they said, who took down their dictation. That's how they wrote their books. And it's actually the wave of the future, and it's actually new school, because authors like Dan Brown, best-selling authors, and Barbara Cartland, she's no longer with us, but she was a British author who wrote until she was like 90-something years old and wrote like 100-something books, okay? And she did that because she and Dan Brown dictated their first drafts. And that's why she was able to write so quickly and so well. Now, what equipment do you need to dictate your books? You just need your phone. Whether you have an iPhone, whether you have any other type of phone, you can go ahead and dictate. There's all these voice recorder apps that you can actually download from the Google Play Store or from the App Store and dictate straight into your phone. All you need is any dictation software that allows you to create an MP3 file, because you could take that file and you can upload it, and you can actually get it transcribed, Or you could use something like this. I like this because I actually have one of these. I actually have 3 of these. But anyway, this is great because it doesn't tie up the space on your phone, doesn't tie up your memory or your whatever. So you can actually dictate into this and then take a chord and upload it directly to your computer and then have somebody transcribe it for you. So I love this because it holds a heck of a lot of voice recordings, and you can just go ahead and upload it directly to your computer. Now, you can use a dictation service to type up your dictation. There's a great service called rev.com. These are live transcriptionists. They do 99% accuracy, and they type your book up at ranges of $1.25 a minute. So it's a little pricey, but these are live transcriptionists. If you prefer not to pay this much money, you could actually have automated transcription. Rev.com has automated transcription for like 25 cents a minute. It's about 80% accurate. You can do it that way. Or if you really prefer live transcriptionists, then you can actually go on Fiverr.com or Upwork or something like that and find somebody cheaper. So cheaper than $1.25 a minute that will type up your book based on the MP3 files that you upload. By the way, Fiverr is spelled Fiverr.com. Another speech-to-text transcriptionist, which is automated and real quick, is Timmy.com. They're about 80-something% accurate as well, and they're only 25 cents a minute. This is another possible source. I use them to transcribe my podcast transcripts or whatever, podcast episode transcripts. Or you could use dictation software like Dragon. I personally use Dragon. You buy it once for like $150, and you just have it. And I dictate, upload directly to my computer, and Dragon will go ahead and take my MP3 file and it will transcribe it. And the good thing is you can train your Dragon, especially if you own it, so on your computer, and it will become up to 99% accurate. So it's one of my favorite softwares to use, Dragon software. So let me ask you a question. Are you ready to whip out the first draft of your book? Are you ready to finally finish the first draft of your book? If you are, go ahead and put yes in the chat. Let me introduce you to my program, Write Your Book in a Weekend. Here's how it works. We start out with the Bestseller Book Challenge. Bestseller Book Challenge is that whole series that I took you through in terms of prepping your book for success from the very start. Because if you remember, I told you, this will be the third time now. The time to think about marketing your book is not after you write it. It's actually before you ever put pen to the page. So we start off with the Bestseller Book Challenge. Basically, I take you through all those steps so that you can go ahead and prep your book for success from the very beginning. Then I help you. I give you a one-on-one session with me. So it's a one-on-one session called a book clarity session. So here's where I help you refine your book idea. I help you hone in on your target market. I help you hone in on your book, which book you want to write first. I make sure that you're doing your book research properly, that you've outlined it properly, and that you're ready, basically, to move on to the next step in the process. So you go through the Bestseller Book Challenge first and all those steps to get your book ready. And then you have the one-on-one session with me. And the one-on-one session is worth $500 because that's what I would normally charge you if you were actually having a one-on-one book clarity session with me. And then I put you through my 10-day book bootcamp course. And in this 10-day book bootcamp course, you learn all of those storytelling techniques, all of those fast writing techniques, right, that I teach you. And book dictation is only one fast writing technique. There's actually several. And you also learn the guerrilla writing and accountability techniques so that you know these techniques prior to joining me for that weekend, for the Write Your Book in a Weekend implementation training workshop. And then we have the actual Write Your Book in a Weekend training workshop. And here is where, when I used to hold it live, I used to basically lock a small group into a hotel ballroom, basically. I didn't really lock them in there, but basically keep you hostage for a whole weekend. And during that weekend, I teach you how to dictate your book, and you become an old pro and an old hand at dictation by the time you leave there, so you're able to whip out books faster than ever. And I make you dictate your book over that weekend. And when you think about it, if we're dictating at 4,000 and 5,000 words an hour, you only need like 5 hours a day, basically, to whip out a full-length book of 175 pages in 2 days. And it's a training implementation workshop where you're actually working on your book the entire weekend. And I put you through time-guided writing sprints and dictation sprints, basically. So you whip out your book over that 2-day weekend. And then if you have any questions, you actually get time with me. I work with a team, so I'm able to pull you out into another room where I actually work with you one-on-one for every time you get stuck. Now, when we do this virtually, we're going to be doing it over Zoom. So we're going to be doing it over Zoom, and that's what we're going to be doing virtually. I'll be able to pull you into a separate Zoom room while everybody else is, writing their books and dictating their books and drilling and doing time-guided writing sprints to actually help you and give you that one-on-one that you need and look over your shoulder during the course of that weekend. So basically, it's a 2-day live implementation training workshop. Now, the good thing about this workshop is that you focus on your book the entire weekend so you could actually get it done. It refreshes the instruction that you got in the 10-day book bootcamp course and in the bestseller book challenge. And it also helps you learn dictation and become an pro at dictation and dictating your books. And we conduct time-guided writing sprints the entire weekend. You have access to me for one-on-one consultations. So that's what we're going to be doing that weekend. Now, the benefits of going through this implementation program is that you're able to write your book fast, which is really important, because especially if you want to write a book that's timely and relevant. But writing your book fast has a lot of benefits. It helps you to eliminate all those distractions that hold you back from writing and finishing your book. It allows you to eliminate overwhelm, all that overwhelm you feel at the enormity of the task of writing a book. It allows you to defeat things like imposter syndrome and attacks of the inner editor and perfectionism, all these mindset issues that normally hold you back. Because when you're writing a book fast, you don't have time to be worried about, I'm not a great writer, or who am I to write this book? You're writing the book, right? Now, the value of this program, where you get the weekend workshop, which is the training program, the virtually, where you get the one-on-one book clarity session with me, where you get to take part in the bestseller book challenge, where you get my 10-day book bootcamp course. The value of all of this is $6,594. When I give this workshop in person, I charge $1,500 for the whole weekend. But because you're here today, and because it's going to be virtual, I'm going to give it to you for just $497. And the website where you can sign up for it is coachcandiceduff.com/book writing weekend. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. Now, I had two choices, right? I could have made this program as cheap as possible. I could have made the class large, and I could try to sell as many spots as possible. Now, that wasn't optimal because obviously if the class was too large, I wouldn't be able to give you enough attention during that class. My second option, which is the one I chose, requires a slightly higher investment, but I can have smaller classes and I can devote more time, more attention, and more resources to each one of you. Now, you have two choices. You could do nothing. You could put your book off for another year. You could miss out on more opportunities, or you can go ahead and make this investment. You could finish your book. You could put it to work for you to help you achieve your goals, and you can start making the impact that you really want to make. Now, if all this program did was help you set your book project up for success, would it be worth it? If all it did was help you write your first draft fast, would it be worth it? If all it did was help you conquer those mindset issues that have been holding you back, would it be worth it? If it helps you attract new clients or establish your expertise or get you new speaking opportunities because they, event coordinators like people who are published authors, would it be worth it? What's it costing you not to write your book? Is it costing you your dreams? Is it costing you your self-respect? Is it costing you money? What's it costing you not to write your book? And imagine how your life and your business is going to change after you become a published author. How good is it going to feel to hold your book in your hands? How will prospective customers and colleagues and event organizers see you if you're a speaker after you become a published author? How will your value as a speaker, a coach, an expert, even as an author, whipping out their next book, increase? And how many ways can you put your book to work for you to help you achieve your dreams? So that's coachcandiceduff.com/book writing weekend. And I'm going to actually go ahead and put that in the comments. Levon asked me, is a pamphlet a good idea? If so, what would be a good way to do it? A pamphlet is a great idea, and you could use a pamphlet in different ways. You could actually use it in content marketing. I don't just teach how to write books. I teach how to create any kind of lead magnet that you want to do. When you learn this process, you'll be able to use it for writing reports, for writing, PDF reports, or writing small ebooks, large ebooks, pamphlets. So a pamphlet's a good idea because you can use it as a lead magnet. You can use it to get people into your mailing list and to bring them into your world, right? A pamphlet is something that you can hand out. So if you learn this process, it'll be good for pamphlets as well. How often do I offer this? How often do I offer write your book in a weekend? Well, this will be the first time I'm offering it virtually. And I don't know whether or not I'm going to do this again. So if you're thinking about doing this, Tammy, it's a good idea to go ahead and sign up now, because I don't know if I'm going to offer this again. I mean, if it's a huge success online as much as it is in person, which I think it will be because I have some great ideas for it, and I have a great team for it, then I might offer it more often, but you can't bank on that. So if you want to go ahead and do it, I suggest you go ahead and sign up. So you need to speak with your husband. How long do you have to decide? You'll be able to sign up you'll be able to sign up until I hit 25 people. And the minute I hit 25 people, I'm shutting down the class because I can't make the class too large. So if I were you, I would go ahead and speak to him as soon as possible. But think about it. This is a program that you can actually use to create not only your first book, but also any other books you want to write. You will have lifetime access to my 10-day book bootcamp course. You'll have lifetime access to the challenge. So you'll have the tools that you need once you sign up, and you could use them over and over again. But the training implementation weekend will be a one-time thing. If you think of any more questions that you want to ask me, you can email me at candice@candiceduff.com. Does it include walking us through self-publishing? No. The purpose of this program is to get you through a full first draft of your book. If you want to go ahead with self-publishing afterwards, then we can talk about you working with me on that later. But this will get you to be able to hold the draft of whatever it is that you are writing in your hands. And more than that, it'll also help you have a plan for launching and marketing it. So, and it'll help prep this for success from the very beginning. So that's what I'm giving you in terms of deliverables. You'll have a full first draft written, and you'll be able to you'll have a plan for launching it and marketing it afterwards, and you'll have it set up for success from the very beginning. The great thing too about the training implementation program is that you're doing it with a group of like-minded people, right? So we're all working together to get our books done. And it's really important. I really hope that you do join me, because I would love to work with you all and bringing your books to life. That's something that actually lights me up and makes me happy. All right. Take care and have a wonderful evening.